indoor mask mandates. Joining us now to talk more about easing and restrictions as we head into the summer, Dr. Scott Gottlieb, former FDA commissioner, a CNBC contributor. He also serves on the boards of Pfizer and Illumina, and it came faster than I even thought, Scott. As you predicted, I took someone yesterday to get the second shot, and it was quiet there. And a month ago, the lines were out the door. We're at least getting close to where everybody that wants one has gotten one, and that concerns me because there aren't enough people that have it yet. Are we going to start seeing that we need to flip the switch and start inducing people and selling this? I don't think the J&J pause helped very much.
Yeah, look, I'm not concerned. I think we're going to continue to chip away at this. If you look at the goal that the administration set to try to get 70% of adults vaccinated by July 4th, that's about 175 million adults. Right now, about 150 million are vaccinated. So they're anticipating getting another 25 million adults vaccinated between now and then. So if you sort of amortize that over the time period, the 60 days, it's about 400,000, 450,000 people vaccinated a day. I think that's probably right. I think we're going to continue to chip away at this through the summer. Demand's going to fall off not only because you're getting into softer demand, people who want the vaccine a little less are less likely to go out for it, line up for it, but it's also the summertime. Prevalence is going to decline. People are going to feel more safe, so they're not going to be out seeking this vaccine. Other people are going to say to themselves, well, maybe I'll wait until the fall. I might need a booster anyway. So I just think you're going to get into a period of time where people are going to rationalize why maybe they won't get it right now, but they'll get it eventually. So we'll chip away at it through the summer. I think when we come back in the fall, we'll see another surge in people getting vaccinated on back to school, back to work. But I think the trajectory looks good. Right now, we have a lot of people vaccinated, 150,000. We'll get up to 175,000 by July 4th. I think that's an achievable goal. I think by the end of the summer, we'll probably be around 200,000. That's a good number. That'll include the kids as well. But I think we'll probably get close to that by the end of the summer.
Merging the COVID talk with its employment Jobs Friday, one of the big concerns, people don't have child care, kids aren't back in school, we can't get workers, so holding back the quick lowering of the unemployment rate is that there's still people that have to stay home with their kids. And you saw all of this craziness this week with the unions dictating to the CDC what to say. Now you see some places are actually taking off masks. On cruise lines, if you take a drink out of a glass or when you're taking a bite of food, you've got to put the mask on between drinks. Will there be any easing of what we're seeing? I don't know whether we've gone too far or what, but certainly some people make that case that with the school closures and some of these other things that we see that we've overdone it.
Look, I think we need to contemplate relaxing these provisions with the same speed and efficiency that we put them in place for a whole host of reasons. I think people have put up with a lot over the last year. You've gotten a lot of compliance. I think public health officials need to preserve their credibility for future decision making, and I think the conditions allow it. So I think you're going to see over the course of this month more municipalities, more states start to lift all these mandates. The criteria should be, is prevalence low? Is your vaccination rate high? And do you have in place good case-based interventions, testing and tracing, so that if cases do emerge, you're going to be able to identify them? I think if a city or a state meets those conditions, and a lot of them meet them right now, I think they can look at an aggressive relaxation of the provisions that have put in place. We can't slow roll this. I think we need to look at the conditions, and if the conditions merit it, pull these things back, recognizing, there's going to be some continued spread. We're never going to fully eliminate this, but a lot of the vulnerable people, the people who are likely to have a bad COVID outcome, have now been vaccinated, and so they're protected from the virus.
Right. We also, when we talk to companies in the travel business, it's a big difference whether you're thinking about traveling here versus if you decide finally to go abroad. I don't even know how you would do that with passports, vaccine passports and the like. But if you could, would you go to, let's say, Europe, Italy? Would you go there in July? Or is the possibility that there are people in airports from other parts of the world where variants are very, very common? And it's a little bit scary when you hear about how quickly variants are coming up. And I don't know what your view is on whether a really nasty one gets selected for. But would you stay domestic, or would you go abroad? If you had, even if you were vaccinated, because those variants, who knows?
Look, I'd feel comfortable traveling abroad this summer to a lot of parts of the world. Certainly Europe. I think Europe's going to have a summer that's going to look very much like ours. I'd feel comfortable traveling to many parts of Asia, but they probably wouldn't let me in. You know, would I wear a mask at a foreign airport? Probably, but I'm not sure I need to. But I would feel comfortable traveling to Europe this summer. And in fact, the Europeans are going to allow us to travel into their countries this summer.
So fully vaccinated, you'd wear a mask in Europe airports?
Well, you're talking to the wrong person. I was the guy using a lot of Purell even before COVID. So, you know,
Yeah.
I probably would feel
you.
comfortable wearing a mask. And
I'm with you on just reading about, I mean, India is very scary right now, unfortunately. It's a horrific scene, and it may even get worse. You saw that this year we may pass all the mortality from last year. We may pass that in the next couple of weeks, given the exponentially how it's growing in certain countries. And that just means the possibility of more variants. And one of them might get around the vaccine. Is that possible, or you don't worry about that?
No, you always worry about that. I do believe that this virus has mutated in a lot of the ways that it's going to ultimately mutate, so we've seen a lot of what it's going to do. But the question of whether or not different mutations are going to combine in novel ways and new strains that create fundamentally different viruses that we haven't seen yet, that still is a possibility. Remember, this virus, in order to evade our immunity, needs to mutate the spike protein. But if it changes it too much, that protein no longer attaches well to our lung tissue. So it's trying to thread a very careful needle in that it's trying to evade our immunity by changing a conformation of that protein, but not change it so much that it no longer works for its fundamental purpose of getting into our cells.
All right, Dr. Gottlieb, thanks. And
Thanks a lot.
Have a great weekend. Happy Friday. Happy Jobs Friday. Thank you.
Thanks a lot.
Joe, I realize why these interviews with Dr. Gottlieb have been so great because, you know, we all kind of use him as our personal therapist for working through the things that we're talking about doing, which is great because it reflects the questions our viewers have too. You, Andrew, and I all do this.
It's perhaps someone
the things that are
thinking
top
about,
of mind for us,
yeah.
we get to ask them those questions.
Perhaps someone thinking about Europe in July.
Asking for a friend.
Asking for a friend, exactly.
Somebody thinking about, is it safe to go to Europe in July?
You know exactly where we stand. Scott is our own private therapist slash doctor in waiting.
What else, honey? Okay, go.
Right. Well, I wanted to ask him about the booster shots. I'll save that for next week. Anyway, still to come, we have a big